Hello, our wonderful 7th grade math kids. Welcome back to this week. We are working on adding and subtracting rational numbers yet again. I really hope you're starting to get rational numbers.
Yes.
Your thumb totally didn't make it in the video.
Yes.
There we go. Okay. So, you have your wonderful math teachers here.
Miss Newsom.
La señorita Green.
Ooh, ay, ay, ay.
And Coach Groves. I'm not that cool.
I actually said it wrong. It's supposed to be La Señora Green.
Moving on.
See.
Just whatever. It's something Spanish, right?
It works.
Let's start over.
No,
I don't like it.
No, too bad. Deal with it.
Moving on.
So our learning target today is we will add and subtract rational numbers by using algorithms. I think you've heard that a lot. Okay, this is just a quick reminder. What do we do when we're adding, subtracting rational numbers? If it's a decimal, first things first, you have to line up your decimal. Fractions, you need a common denominator. Integers, same sign, add and keep. Different sign, subtract.
Then you
Take the sign of the higher number, then you'll be exact.
larger number or digit or
value.
value.
So whatever is the largest value, that's still not on the screen.
I was just
You
making
take-
them know that we're
there we
doing
go.
adding and subtracting.
Adding and
These are the
subtracting.
rules for adding and subtracting.
So you
Adding-
take
This is for adding and subtracting.
only,
Just for adding and
Yes,
subtracting.
Green.
just adding and subtracting.
Yes, Green.
Is it for adding and subtracting?
Only for adding and subtracting.
Okay. Then one of the biggest things that you have to do before you do anything is it adding or subtracting? If it is a subtraction problem, you have to keep, change it. No matter what. If it's a decimal, it's a fraction, integer, keep, change. Hey, that was really good. So we always have to do keep, change. Then you line up your decimals and your common denominator and your same signs add and keep, different signs subtract. After you've keep, change
But
it.
this applies to all three categories.
Yes.
They keep, change when subtracting.
Yes. Only when subtracting. When the original problem is subtraction.
Only subtraction.
Original problem subtraction.
Subtraction?
Original.
Yes.
Okay. Let's start with an example. 4.5
Wait,
plus
first identify what kind of numbers are you working with?
Rational numbers.
But are they fractions or decimals or whole numbers?
the rational.
We've got some decimals going on here.
So first, hold on before we do anything. What's it originally, adding or subtracting?
It's adding.
Adding.
Okay, so we don't have to do anything, right?
That's right. Now also, notice how this is a negative rational number. That does not make it an integer. Okay? It's not an integer just because there's a negative. These are still rational numbers and they are both decimals.
Okay.
And sometimes you'll see it look like this too.
I typically put it like that. The reason those parentheses are there is just so that you don't have a positive and a negative sign right
Right on.
next to
All right,
each
all right,
other.
all right. I get it. I made a mistake, y'all.
We're not trying to blame you.
We are. She's
Okay.
wrong.
Miss Newsom's trying to blame you. I'm not trying to blame you. I typically put it in there. Sad face.
This is what I look like right now.
She kind of does.
Hey, everybody in my class. I got you. I got your back.
But the video's not over. Put it away.
Oh, okay. Let's go.
Now, what do we do with decimals?
Always
Anyone?
line them up.
Always line them up. So I've got 4.15. I'm going to line up my decimal. But am I adding or subtracting these numbers?
Well, they're different
about to
signs,
ask you
so
that.
because they're different signs, we're going to actually be subtracting. But we don't have to rewrite the problem or
No,
anything.
no.
We're just going to subtract.
The smaller value from the larger value.
That's right.
So 0 from 2. Oh, I can't do that. So
She's borrowing, by the
I'm
way.
borrowing, yes.
10 minus 2 is 8.
8. 4 minus 0. I love that. It's that
4.
easy. 1 minus 4. Man. 11. I can do that kind of addition in my head, Miss Newsom. Thank you.
Hey, just helping a friend out.
So, is this going to be positive or negative?
Well, you've got to come back up to the original problem and you've got to
Which
look at the
one?
two values.
Had the higher value.
Which one has the higher value, the negative or the positive?
I really don't. I'm going to say the higher digit is my favorite.
I say the higher
course.
digit. Yeah, because the higher digit's here. This one has nothing. It's a 0 right there. So the 4.15 is bigger than 0.402.
Definitely.
So I'm going to keep it positive. My final answer is 3.748.
Do I have to put the positive sign?
No,
Okay, just making sure.
I did draw it in there just because I felt like it.
Just making sure.
Negative 3.5 plus 4.75. Miss Green, that was mean. You gave me a fraction and a decimal on the same.
Okay, so we've got options here. I'm not mean, I'm being nice. I'm giving you choices. Do you want to convert everything to fractions? Move that to a fraction, or do you want to change that to a decimal?
I personally love fractions. However, I know all my kids hate fractions, but I'm going to make them do a fraction today.
I'm the same way. I love fractions. It makes it-
Fractions are easier. I see more mistakes with decimals than I do fractions. When you
There's just way
guys
too many numbers.
when you guys go, all week I've heard, how do I change a fraction to a decimal? And then you're like, oh, the decimal's easier. I'm going to change my fraction to a decimal. And I'm going, but you just told me you can't. And you need help with that. So just go to the fraction, because this one you know, easy. 75 over 1,000. If you didn't know it off the top of your head.
100.
I'm sorry. 75 over 100. If you didn't know off the top of your head that it was 3/4. So we've got -3.5 plus 4 3/4.
Think about it as money. If you had $1 but if you think about $1 being one, if you have 75 cents, that's 3/4 of the dollar. 50 cents would be half, and so on. But think about it in terms of money. Sometimes that might help.
Yes,
Okay,
it
we've
does.
got fractions. So what goes first?
First thing first. Is it an addition or subtraction problem?
Addition.
Okay, so I don't have to keep change it.
No.
Same sign or different?
Different.
Okay, different. There's a positive there. So do I add or subtract my numbers?
We're gonna have to subtract.
We're going to have to
Okay.
subtract.
So I'm going to rewrite this as 4 3/4 minus 3.5. Now, what was that next step?
Probably to convert them into improper fractions. You don't have to.
Common denominator.
Common denominator. Yeah, you don't have to.
You don't have
can
to.
find a common denominator or convert them and then find the common denominator.
Exactly. You can do
Either way-
either way.
Yeah. You could probably cut some time out, though, by finding the common denominator.
So let's
right
do the
here.
common denominator since we like to cut it out. So we're going to go times 2 times 2. Common denominators. Remember, guys, I hear this a lot too. What's a common denominator? It's a denominator that's the same. I can't have something smaller than this 4. It has to be at least that one.
We're looking for the smallest number that both 2 and 4 go into.
And that happens to be
4 goes
4.
into itself once, so we can
Yes.
keep that value the same.
So the common denominator, we'd end up with 4 3/4 minus 3 2/4. Then we
Such
can.
a pretty problem.
It is such a pretty problem. We can subtract this and subtract our whole numbers here, which was 1, and then subtract our numerators here, which was 1/4. Now, I don't know why I didn't use a
Make
fraction
sure you
bar I
come back
wrote
up and look
originally.
at the...
Was it positive or negative? So let's look at the whole numbers first. Which one's bigger?
4.
The 4. So the bigger
digit
value
or value,
or
whichever
digit,
you want to
yes,
go with.
is 4. And that one happened to be positive, so my answer is positive, so 1 1/4.
Okay, I don't want you guys to get confused with the words value, digit, number. Just know that if you cover up your signs, this is what we're doing. Will you help me cover up that sign? If you cover up this,
Oh, sorry.
we don't need your hand. We don't need
Newsom.
your hand. Sorry, Newsom, Leon, it's the same thing. Right?
Same thing.
Okay, back to so honestly, if you just look at your 4 and your 3 without any symbols, which number is bigger? Is it your 4 or your 3?
The 4.
Your 4 is bigger. So don't get all caught up in us saying value or number or digit. Just look at them without the numbers, without the symbols. Which one's bigger? It's going to be 4. So because of that, you're going to use the symbol that belongs to that 4. So your answer is going to be positive.
Okay, let's go ahead and do one more for today. 4 1/8 minus -3 2/5. Okay, the first thing we had to look at, is this an addition problem or a subtraction problem?
Subtraction.
Subtraction. What was I supposed to do when I have subtraction?
Keep, change.
Keep, change.
Or
Boom.
I always say you can always
Add the opposite. It's the exact same thing. We're adding the opposite. The opposite changes it from positive to negative or negative to positive. It's just the opposite. So 4 1/8 plus 3 2/5. Now what do we need to do?
Probably look at the numbers first of all. See if there's a common denominator.
No, we had one step before that.
What do we have one step before that?
Same sign or different?
Oh, signs. My bad. Same
It's okay.
signs are different.
Same signs are different.
They're the same.
They're the same. They're both positive.
So all we do is
Add. So I'm going to rewrite this down here. 3 2/5. What is our common denominator? 8 and 5. Oh, my 5 can't go into 8. So what's my common denominator?
40.
probably
40 would probably be the common denominator. So I'm just gonna leave my whole numbers for now. I've got 40 would be times 5 times 5. So 5 over 40 plus, this would be times 8 times 8. If you can't find a common denominator that's right off your head, just multiply those numbers. So 2 times 8 is 16 over 40. Add my numerators. 5 plus 16 is
21.
so 21 over 40, and add my whole numbers, and I've got
7.
Is that in its simplest form?
I think so.
Did I need to keep my sign? What was my sign?
Positive.
It was
So am
all
I
positive.
okay?
Yep.
Yep.
Am I done?
Yep.
Wow, that was easy. Okay. That is, I almost forgot that smiley face.
All right, that's all we have for you guys
That
today.
is what we
So,
have for today. This was
from
a
Miss Green.
Oh, but that's the tiny one. Where's the big one? We forgot one
doesn't
day.
fit, man.
Oh, it totally fit.
We're out.
We are out.
Have a good
today.
night.
Have a wonderful day. You got 2 smiley faces since we missed one last week.
Peace out.